Welcome back, folks, to Let's Play Phoenix Wright Trials and Tribulations. Our last installment, we find out that blood isn't always as thick as water. And in some families, there are always going to be some dark history abound. And that's what we're going to deal with in this final trial of the game. We're going to deal with some very, very dark history. So what we're going to do is waste no more time and jump right into the final trial of the final case of the game. So sit back, enjoy, and with that, let's go. We're going to continue from the chapter start. February 10th, 9:39 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 1.
Good morning. Oh, are you by yourself?
Morning, Pearls.
Missing it. Can you tell me what's going to happen to Missing Maya?
I'm sorry. We don't know yet. The investigation is still going on, so I wasn't allowed to the inner temple.
Oh, I see. So is this Sister Iris still trying to remove those trick locks in the training hall?
No, she's the defendant in this case, so she can't be at the inner temple. She's required to be here in court.
Then how come she's not in the defendant's lobby?
I have to admit, it's kind of strange. If you're looking for Iris, she's in the prosecutor's lobby. Edgeworth? What's Iris doing over there? She's going over today's testimony with the prosecutor as we speak. Today's testimony? You heard me. Iris is going to be testifying as a witness for the prosecution. Wait, what? The prosecutor is squeezing her for a confession. So I heard. Franziska von Carmel, what are you up to? I know what you're thinking, but Franziska isn't going to be the prosecutor today. What? Then who is? Who else would it be but Godo? Franziska is engaged in some important work at the Sacred Cavern.
Sacred Cavern? You know me, says she's...
Exactly. She's been out there all night trying to remove those trick locks. With the head nun's assistance, naturally. We estimate that the last of the locks should be taken care of in about 3 hours. I hope everything continues to go smoothly as we receive some good news soon. Yeah, thanks, Edgeworth. Prosecutor Godo intends to nail this case shut today. Be prepared to fight like there's no tomorrow. You don't have to tell me that. I know. I can always see it in your eyes. You're not the same fever-rented, frantic maniac you were yesterday. Strange. On the way here, I decided that today would be the end of all this. Almost immediately after I made that decision, I felt myself getting stronger. Interesting. Maybe you passed your code on to someone else, literally. And with that, I leave the rest in your capable hands, partner. Thanks. I still don't have answers for most of the riddles plaguing this case. The circumstances around the murder of Miss Elise Dunham. No, I mean, Miss Missy Faye. The impossible flight Larry claims to have seen. And what that woman is really after. I will solve them all and bring this whole tragedy to an end. February 10th, 10 a.m., District Court, Courtroom number 7. And since I ain't playing around with this game, I'm pulling out the glasses. Hopefully I can see out these things. Gosh, I need to clean these things. February 10th, 10 a.m., District Court, Courtroom number 7. Court is now in session for the trial of Iris of Hazakor Temple. Your Honor? What are you... Who? Me? Well, my little brother came to visit me in my chambers earlier this morning. All of a sudden, in the blink of an eye, he developed a scorching fever and fainted. Therefore, I'll be standing in him for him. I see, Your Honor. So they're brothers. That explains a lot. My poor brother, he looked a bit pale. Not to mention said that he couldn't be here. My poor brother, he looked a bit pale. Not to mention sad that he couldn't be here. 1. It is impossible to predict what the future has in store for any of us. This is precisely why people feel the need to judge the past. And we of the court have been charged with the solemn duty of passing such judgment. Well said, Mr. Godo. I understood exactly what you said, at least up until the end anyway. Now then, Mr. Godo, please proceed with your opening statement. Humans are fragile, fickle beings. Our hearts change with the shifting of the tides. There's only one thing that remains a constant in this crazy world. The bitter darkness that lies at the bottom of this mug. And at the bottom of this mug lies heaven. At least on my end. So then you mean... forget it. Well, what do you mean? During yesterday's trial, the accused refused to admit her role in the crime. But today she has had a change of heart. Sister Iris of Hazakor Temple has a confession to make. Confession! The defendant! Iris. Why didn't she discuss this with me first? Very well. This court will now hear the defendant's This court will now hear the defendant's confession. Upon meeting a beautiful lady, always ask for her name and profession. That's one of my rules.
My name is Iris. I am but a simple nun undergoing training at the Hazakor Temple.
Witness, is there something that you want to confess to?
Yes, but first I want to apologize to Mr. Wright. I can't continue lying to everyone anymore.
It's alright. What is it?
Mr. Wright, I have to admit that I did play a part in this terrible incident.
Are you actually confessing? Are you saying that you were the one who murdered Miss Iris Dunim?
No, I'm not, Your Honor. But I dealt with the cover-up after the murder took place. After her spirit left, I took the lifeless shell of Mr. Khalees and carried it to the Hazakor Temple courtyard where I just desecrated it.
What? Order the court order! Witness, are you saying you were an accomplice to the murder?
Yes, that's correct.
What?
3 minutes in court and I'm already covered in a cold sweat.
2.
Ha! Everyone on the planet is an accomplice to something. It just happens to be that, in this case, it's to murder. Isn't that right, Mr. Wright? So this is the confession they were conferring about. Pains me to say this, but it looks like Iris' testimony was all a lie. Oh, that poor cake. It too was a lie. It was a very delicious lie. Well, it's been crumpled up and shoved into a pocket. Now then, little lady, if you don't mind, I've got a question for you. Whose crime were you trying to cover up by your actions? Iris was covering up for someone. Now I'm definitely up the creek without a paddle. Or a life jacket. I've been in Hazakura Temple ever since I was a little girl. Hazakura Temple is run by one of the branch families of the Korean tradition. One of our missions is to protect the main family. I'm sorry, but main family? Yes, and that's why I would dirty myself, if need be, to protect her. The daughter of the master of the Korean channeling technique. Mystic Maya Fey. How? Wake up and smell the coffee, Wright. She's naming... Maya!
Order in the court! So not only did you witness the murder, you know the name of the murderer!
I'm terribly sorry, but it's true. I saw her commit the crime with my very own eyes. And then I cleared up the area to try to protect her.
That's ridiculous! Mike could never do such a... The defense will refrain from commenting until the appropriate time. Now, witness, let's hear your testimony. What exactly happened on the night of the crime?
Yes, Your Honor.
I thought I was prepared for the unexpected. But I never imagined the case would wind up going in this direction. The real murderer.
I went to the inner temple that night and I saw it all happen in the garden. I saw Mystic Elise strike Mystic Maya with her staff. While Mystic Maya was still stumbling, Mystic Elise moved in to deliver a fatal strike. Mystic Maya tried desperately to defend herself and stole the weapon. It was only in self-defense. You can't blame her for that.
Please don't talk to me. So it was in self-defense?
Yes, Mystic Elise was the one who attacked first. That's why I tried my best to protect Mystic Maya.
You moved the victim's body to the temple so that Maya wouldn't be suspected. Isn't that right? Not bad. You've got the instincts of a true criminal. Something's not quite right. I'm sure it was established yesterday that Iris never went to the inner temple that night. And that the person who did go was that woman. Iris even admitted it. Now then, Mr. Wright, please proceed with your cross-examination. The real murderer. And 3. With that, I had to say, hold it. She moved in to deliver a fatal strike.
Yes, I'm sure of it. She threw down her staff and reached into her robe for a weapon.
Wait a minute. What was this weapon?
It was some kind of dagger.
Dagger, huh? And at least Dunham tried to stab her with this weapon. To kill Miss Fate.
Yes, exactly.
You look like I did after I mistakenly took a swig of Worcestershire sauce. Hmm? Do you have a problem with the testimony we're hearing from your client, lawyer boy? Do I have a problem with this testimony? There's one thing. Your Honor, I have a small problem with the witness testimony. You do. But this witness is your own client. Yes, well, nevertheless, that's fine. Witness, let's add your last statement to the testimony.
Yes, sir.
Hey, just a moment! It's my job to say that! Listen, Krabs, I won't say it again. Final judgment will be rendered by me. Okay, now, let's continue. She threw her staff
away and pulled a dagger from inside her robe.
Oh, really? Because what I see here, I see totally different. I see this. Objection! Sister Idias, there's something strange about your version of events.
Huh?
Miss Dunham throwing her staff away makes no sense at all to me.
But all you can do with a staff is hit someone.
Naturally, you wouldn't know this, Sister Idias, but the victim's staff has a special feature about it. As you can see, it's a sword. If Elise Dunham really had wanted to kill Maya Fey, she wouldn't have needed to use a separate dagger. Not when she already had a beautiful blade in her hands already. Well, Sister Iris, what do you have to say? Three. I don't care if it's off. 1, 2, maybe 3. That was an impressive bit of investigating, Wright. I never would have thought there was a sword hidden in that staff. But even so, how should I put this? A long sword is unwieldy and thus quite ineffective in close quarters combat. Not in RPG logic. Maybe that's why she chose a dagger over her blade. Well, anyway, the type of weapon she chose to use isn't what's important. The important thing is that she tried to kill Maya Fey. As long as there's nothing strange about that, there's no problem with the testimony. But there is something strange about this whole testimony. Well, Mr. Wright, the prosecution has a point. Very well, Your Honor. The defense will now present evidence to back its arguments.
Mr. Wright.
I have here another piece of evidence that shows that this testimony can't be trusted. Because Miss Elise Dunham would never attempt to take the life of Maya Fey. Real name, Misty Faye, Maya's mother and master of the Korean channeling technique. Take that! At least Dunem would never have attacked Maya Faye.
How can you be so sure?
Because the victim's real name was not Elise Dunim. Her real name was Misty Faye. Faye?
No! Not Misty Faye?
Who is this Misty Faye? And she ready to... Misty Faye is the master of the Korean channeling technique. She is also the mother of Maya Faye. Are you serious?
Is it really true, Mr. Wright? Was Elise Dunem actually the great Mystic Misty?
There's no doubt about it. It looks like that Iris had no idea.
I can hardly believe it.
The idea that she would try to kill her only daughter, one she hadn't seen in 17 years. Perhaps the prosecution can offer some explanation for why she would do such a thing! Order in the court! Upon first hearing the witness testimony, it seemed natural enough. However, in light of some facts that have just been presented, one, that the victim supposedly threw away a sword during a fight, and two, that the two people were the two people battling to the death were mother and daughter, despite the facts being believable when taken on their own. When taken together, the entire story seems difficult to believe. For, listen, there's nothing in this world that's impossible, except for one little thing. Yes, what is that one little impossible thing? You still don't get it. You think maybe my beans are under roasted, but you have no idea, Gramps. Could you get to your point? I heard this witness confession this morning, just as I had taken the first sip of my 8th cup of morning coffee. You're going to ruin your health, my friend. Anyway, after hearing this woman's confession, I had a detective who loves to investigate sent to the scene of the crime. And he discovered this little beauty. Is that the dagger the witness testified to seeing? Obviously, Your Honor. But do you not notice something else? Now that you mention it, if you look closely, there appears to be a bloodstain. Where'd you find that? I didn't see that when I investigated the crime scene. Did you investigate the pine tree at the crime scene? Huh? The pine tree? This dagger was stuck in the back side of the pine tree, when the last blow was struck, ending the violent battle between the two women. This little baby was thrown in the back. This little baby was thrown in the direction of the back of the pine tree, and not in the hands of Big Fatty Plus. Which means the blood on this dagger belongs to the victim, correct? Were you even listening, old man? I first heard this confession this morning, just as I had taken the first sip of my 13th cup of morning coffee.
Did you just say it was right just a few minutes ago?
I didn't have enough time to get the blood analyzed on such short notice. In any case, the court will accept the dagger as evidence. Furthermore, I order that a blood test be performed on it immediately. This is my sweetheart. Make sure you treat her right. Bailiff, get this piece of evidence to the crime lab for testing immediately. And we get the dagger. Now then, the testimony we've just heard had numerous unbelievable aspects to it. However, after having found the very dagger the witness spoke of, I believe we can consider her testimony to be credible. 5. Cute girls never lie. Ever. Bull to the shit! In any case, witness, if you could please testify again to this court.
About what, Your Honor?
About the incident you saw, the battle between the two women.
Yes, Your Honor.
The battle!
Mystic Maya stumbled briefly after being hit over the head with the staff, but then she dodged Mystic Elise's next attack and stole her weapon. Suddenly, Mystic Elise was the one on the defensive, with her back to the stone lantern. That's when Mystic Maya stabbed Mystic Elise. Mystic Elise managed to fling the knife away, but then she collapsed.
That was a very heartbreaking story.
I don't know if there were any bad feelings between them, but it had been 17 years since Mystic Misty's disappearance. Perhaps they simply didn't recognize each other anymore.
That seems reasonable. Now then, Mr. Wright, proceed with your cross-examination. So we start by going to 1, 2, 3. And I say to this, hold it! You're saying that Maya Fey turned the tables on the victim?
Yes. But Mystic Maya wasn't herself at the time. After all, her life was in danger. I still can't believe it. The idea of Maya cornering someone at knife point is just silly. 7. As they say, a cornered fox is more dangerous than a jackal. I believe the correct description of a cornered fox is scared and petrified. Your animal analogies have grown tiresome. You were the one who started it! Anyway, so after Maya Fey backed the victim into the stone lantern, what happened next? Hold it. Yeah, hold it. Are you absolutely certain that's what you saw? Yes, I'm almost certain.
Almost.
The garden was dark. I couldn't really tell who was who. What did she just say?
So in other words, it could have been someone else entirely.
Objection!
We know that Maya Fey was at the inner temple that night. And that woman that was killed was Elise Dunim. Isn't it fairly obvious who attacked who?
I don't have anything to counter that yet.
Well then, witness, please continue with your testimony.
Yes, Your Honor. The two of them faced each other for a moment. Then Mystic Maya rushed straight into Mystic Elise. Then Mystic Elise doubled over and fell to the ground.
So she was stabbed in the stomach,
Yes.
No, 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 no. No, 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 dear, dear, dear. No, no, dear, 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 dear. I like to say, objection! Something about you just isn't right today, Itis.
Huh?
Until now, I didn't think you were the type to make such a careless mistake. However, the testimony you just gave contains quite a few contradictions.
What do you mean? What's wrong with my testimony?
According to you, Maya Fey stabbed the victim Maya Fey had stabbed the victim who had her back turned to the stone lantern, correct?
Yes, that's right.
But in that case, the victim would have been stabbed in the stomach, right? Yes, I think so. But, according to the autopsy report, the cause of death was due to a blood loss from a stab wound in her back. This proves that the victim was stabbed from behind, not the front. Sister Itis, it appears another seed of doubt has sprouted from your testimony. What is the meaning of this, Mr. Wright? Nine. Simple. People are like books. We've all got a front and a back. Get my drift? Is that all you've said? I can also say that darkness loves to play with the human mind. Oh, that's so true, though. Could you please knock it off with the cheesy proverbs and the logical metaphors already? The point is, too much of this testimony just doesn't make sense. Throwing away a useful staff. The people fighting being mother and daughter. And now she falsely claims the victim was stabbed in the stomach. There are certainly some inconsistencies. Well, Itis, how about it?
Well, it's just...
If you ask me, you're just being too naive about the whole thing. What do you mean? There are 253 distinct types of bitterness in coffee. I only drink Folgers, so therefore I don't taste neither one of those 253 distinct types of bitterness. But to pick out each one requires total concentration and the use of all the senses. Were you really concentrating on what this witness actually said? Prosecutor Godo, explain yourself! The witness was quite unambiguous about her own ambiguities when she said that the garden was dark and she couldn't see clearly. A human needs one thing to see clearly, and that is light. Light. By the way, did you know the inner temple has a rule that on nights when an acolyte is there training, the stone lantern in the garden is to be always lit. I did wonder about that stone lantern. I did wonder what that stone lantern was there for. That's true. Why am I going to feel like I'm answering the phone? I'm not going to let it. Should the witness have been more clearly to see the crime more clearly? Normally, yes, Your Honor, but according to the head nun, Sister Bikini, on the night of the crime, it was impossible to light that stone lantern. Possible? It hadn't been used in a long time, and the wick was no good. In other words, it had to be nearly pitch black in the garden that night. There could have been a faint light coming from the training hall, but that's all. What was enlightening? 10. I don't care. I'm not keeping track anymore. Yes, that illuminating fact has chased away all the contradictions away. If the staff was dropped, it would be difficult to see. It all explains why they didn't recognize each other. We can't see the demons that lurk in the night. That's why humans are weak. Isn't that right, Wright? No! Order! Here, Your Honor. Let me present the stone lantern into evidence. Maybe it will rekindle the flame of truth in your mind. So we finally get the stone lantern. Why is the judge just sitting there with that look on his face? That look that says, derpy derp, shit a brick. What's wrong, Your Honor? Was that flame too hot? This lantern, there's something written on it. Why? It's written in blood! Oh boy! So the judge didn't know about that yet. Written in blood. It says Maya upside down. What?
Oh yes, that's right. After being cornered and then stabbed by Mystic Maya, Mystic Elise didn't fall down right away. She must have been writing that on the stone lantern behind her, with the blood that was draining out of her body.
Certainly looks that way.
Objection!
Hang on just a minute. What are you all talking about? What do you mean, what are we all talking about? We're talking about the message written... We're talking about the message written in blood. Nonsense. This lantern. It's green as a whistle. Could it be? He can't see the bloody writing at all. Now that I think about it, he did say something to me yesterday. My eyesight is pretty messed up. Even with these huge goggles on my head, I can't see everything. So that's what he meant by that. In any case, this is obviously an important clue. We now know that the crime scene was dark, and that the victim scrawled this message on the stone lantern. Well, Mr. Godo, anything further? Mr. Godo. Okay then, let's move on. Godo is literally shaking, and somehow I don't think it's from caffeine overdose. I believe it has now been established that Miss Dunim was killed by Maya Fey. That's just wrong! Now it's time to turn our attention to you.
Yes, sir.
After the victim died, you did something, didn't you? Let's hear it. We're all ears. Sister Ida's cover-up.
After Mystic Elise died, I called out to Mystic Maya. I thought it was my duty to protect the future master of the Korean tradition, so I removed the body from the inner temple by myself. I dragged it behind me all the way across Dusky Bridge. Then I used a snowmobile to carry it back to Hazakura Temple and I used the shishito to alter the way the wound looked.
So, you move the body.
Yes, I was raised at Hazakura Temple. I owe a great deal of thanks to the Fae clan. But even so, I never imagined that Ili's Dunim was actually Misty Fae. I've committed a terrible sin.
Terrible trick of fate.
I believe you're looking for a twist of fate, Your Honor.
I intend to return to the inner temple after taking care of the body. But
You were spotted by the head nun, correct?
yes, and that's why I couldn't go back.
Your story makes sense, I suppose. Mr. Wright, go ahead with your cross-examination. Yes, Your Honor. Sister Iris cover-up, which ain't much to say. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold it! The snowmobile! I knew that would show up sooner or later.
Yes, I had the key. I used the snowmobile to travel from Hazakura Temple to Dusky Bridge.
This is the part that was in question the other day. Should I ask for more details about the tracks? If you really didn't move her body by a snowmobile, then there should be tracks left in the snow, right? Well, yes, naturally you would expect tracks. This picture was presented at yesterday's trial. Are these tracks from that ride?
Yes, I think they are.
But I can only see one set of tracks here.
I don't see what's so strange about that. Snow was falling when I left Hazakura Temple.
I see. Snow is still falling,
And then when the murder took place, it had already stopped. That's why there are such fresh-looking tracks.
How about it, Mr. Wright? What did you think about this testimony? Very important. When the murder took place, the snow had already stopped. That doesn't make sense if you stack it up against the other evidence. Your Honor, I like the statement Iris just made added to the testimony. But does it have something to do with this case? All will be made clear if you allow our statement to be added to the record. This should be fun. 10. You. Let's get the snow business cleared up, shall we?
Yes, sir. By the time the murder took place, the snow had already stopped.
Press that. There have been a lot of contradictions in your testimony so far. This time, are you sure it's all true?
Yes, I am.
When the murder happened, the snow had already stopped. according to you, that's why the snowmobile tracks were so clear.
That's right. I'm certain of it.
I think I've trapped her this time. I see how you think. Snow, huh? What is going on here? If the snow had stopped by the time of the murder, it means there's a bigger hole in her story than that movie, The Grid Revelations. Well then, Mr. Wright, perhaps you'd like to share your theory with us. Let's see what you've got up your sleeve, or rather at the end of your index finger. I don't want to believe it, but I don't think my logic is failing me. Iris is trying to pin the murder on Maya. But why would she want to do that? There's only one reason I can think of. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know what I say? Objection! You claim that the snow had already stopped when the murder occurred. But I'm sorry, Iris. That just isn't possible.
What?
This is the weather data from the night of the murder. According to this, the snow didn't stop until 10:50 p.m. But you couldn't have crossed Dusky Bridge at that time.
Why did you say that?
Because 5 minutes before the snow stopped, Dusky Bridge was struck by lightning and had caught on fire.
What did you say? The bridge! It was on fire!
You don't mean to say you didn't know about it. It was because of that lightning strike that the bridge burned down.
What? But it can't be!
It looks like you still haven't figured it out. No matter how hard you try to deceive or conceal the truth, you can't pull the wool over the eyes of a real defense attorney!
Oh!
Order! 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 The bridge was already on fire when the incident took place. That's right. The inner temple was already totally cut off from the outside world. There's no way she could have crossed the bridge. Body or nobody! Witness! Even my patient has his limits. Any further lying and I will find you in contempt of court. Do you have anything to say for yourself? 12. I don't care anymore. The only person here that is truly contemptible is you. Old man! Me? How dare you! Whether this witness lied or not doesn't mean squat right now. Squat? Jack shit! The important thing now is to find out the truth, isn't that right? Yes, of course, but whether it was snowing or not snowing, or whether the bridge was burning or not, there are 2 facts that can't be disputed. First, the body of Elise Dunim was discovered in the Hazakor Temple courtyard, and second, the head nun, Sister Bikini. Witness Iris desecrating Elise Dunim's body. He makes a good point, on both accounts.
That's right. I'm not lying.
What are you claiming this time?
I wasn't myself at all that night. So my memory is still somewhat hazy.
You have stood at that witness stand and testified this entire time. Are you telling us now that your memory of that night is hazy? It is only human to err. If you're so perfect, Wright, maybe you can explain this for the court. What is it? When the murder happened, the bridge had already burnt down. But somehow the body traveled across the bridge and was found in the temple courtyard. Perhaps you have some kind of perfect explanation for this little magic trick. Ugh! Well, not exactly, no. I know there must be some other way she got across that burned out bridge. But unless I can somehow demonstrate it, we'll never know the truth. It looks like the defense is not prepared to offer a suitable explanation. Well, do I care anymore? You see what I mean, in other words. You're in no position to suggest that this lady's testimony isn't the truth. Ah! Alright then, witness, let's hear your testimony once more.
About what, Your Honor?
You've admitted that you moved the victim's body. Nevertheless, your prior testimony contained a rather large inconsistency. Please add an explanation for that to your testimony. And with that, folks, I'm going to stop here. In the next part, we're going to hear the rest of this testimony, as well as a surprise witness when Let's Play Phoenix Wright Trials and Tribulations return right after this.